Choice and consequences. These are the crux of what makes The Witcher 3 what it is. Throughout the game, Geralt has to make choices where it often feels like he's got incomplete information or that there will be unforeseen consequences, and he's just got to go with his gut and live with the results. And the game changes accordingly, but rarely do other characters change who they are just because Geralt made a choice. But occasionally, the game slips up, and we get a secondary character be beholden to Geralt in an unnatural way. And to see an example of this, let's do a quest analysis on Missing in Action. This is a quest Geralt obtains from the White Orchard notice board, which takes him to a village that has been utterly destroyed, leaving this guy Dune talking to his dog while wearing these amazing cut-off pants. Dune tells Geralt that his brother Bastian went to fight Nilfgaard a few days back. Now he wants to find his body and bring him home. Geralt and our snappy dresser go through the war-torn fields until the dog sniffs out that Bastian isn't quite dead at all, but badly injured, along with the Nilfgaardian commander, at which point Geralt has to figure out how to handle this delicate situation. So first off, why am I doing a White Orchard quest now? Well, as you can see, I'm on vacation here, and I gotta use whatever footage I have on my computer, and my Ladies of the Wood footage is back at home. I guess you could say it's Missing in Action, but I happen to have Missing in Action footage on my computer, so I said, hey, let's do a quest analysis on Missing in Action. Second off, this quest is really quite good, despite the quibble I mentioned in the intro. In fact, it feels almost borderline essential for new players to get a picture of how much the war with Nilfgaard has directly impacted the people, and the justifiable animosity that the Northerners have for the Black Ones.
I want to find his body at least, so Bastian don't rot there in the sun with the Black Ones.
So that line really conveys the pall that the Nilfgaardian invasion has put on these people, but honestly the dialogue didn't really sell this for me when I first played the game. No, what sold it for me was when I walked that battlefield with Dune looking for his brother, and you see the aftermath of this battle that everyone's been talking about. It's brutal, depressing, filled with ghouls, and it evokes an atmosphere of loss and despair. In short, Missing in Action is world building done to perfection. It is also the most in-depth tutorial to the Witcher senses that you get. And by God, this quest is not going to let you not learn it. It's a giant battlefield, you gotta walk all around the area, repeatedly activating the Witcher senses, and there are pop-ups galore. This isn't me complaining though, I'm just pointing out how this quest so very thoroughly guides the player through this mechanic, and it does it very well. And just so you don't feel like it's nothing but a hand-holding tutorial, you get a couple of fights with ghouls to keep things fresh. Also keeping things fresh is watching Dune run from his burnt-down house to the battlefield. Gee, Geralt, why not give him a ride or something? Well, maybe Geralt was in a rush to finish things off, so maybe we should just rush things and finish this off and talk about that choice that I mentioned. Dune's dog eventually catches the scent of Bastian, which leads the trio to this little shack where Bastian is holed up, blinded from the battle, with a Nilfgaardian commander Marcin, whose ankle looks in terrible shape. And this leads to a pitch-perfect example of how CD Projekt Red incorporates what may seem like superfluous dialogue in order to humanize its characters.
My lieutenant demanded we defecate on command. Ballista bolts landing all around, and all he could say was, "A soldier with a full stomach will not step onto the battlefield." Now shit, that is an order. Can you believe it? The cretin.
Stop! You're killing me. My ribs. It hurts to laugh.
This story is funny, but more than that, it gives the player something to relate to. We'd heard such bad things about Nilfgaard up to this point, but here, this is just a person, one who Bastian feels indebted to.
He saved my life. I got a cut to my side, and then got hit in the head. Couldn't see anything. Marcin here found me as he crawled across the battlefield. His legs twisted. And so we were. A blind man leading a cripple.
This is kind of heartwarming because this quest felt like it was just going to be the standard task of finding Dune's brother dead in a field. That would have been fine and would have spelled out the bleakness of the conflict with Nilfgaard, but this is so much more impactful because of the human connection between these guys from opposite ends of that conflict. Of course, things become potentially gut-wrenching very quickly. When Dune tells Bastian he needs to take him home, both brothers have equally good points when it comes to what to do with Marcin.
I won't leave Marcin here. Alone he'll die. And he can't go back to his home. He's deserted. They'll hang him.
And what if they find him with us? They'll hang us all, my Laisha included. No, the Blackened stays here.
All of this leads to a classic moral dilemma that The Witcher 3 is so good at, and on the surface, I like this moment. You can side with Dune, which is a pretty big emotional blow for Marcin.
Marcin, I'll bring you food. And an herbalist. You'll see. In a week or two, you...
Just go.
And it's even more of an emotional blow when you come back later and find that Marcin has just died here. So maybe you side with Bastion.
Maybe you ought to show him Nordlings aren't as barbarous as Nilfgaardians make us out to be.
Well, I could give him our pa's clothes, teach him to work the field. But that accent... Fine, I'll take him in.
Siding with Dune makes practical sense to me. You don't know what bringing Marcin in might do to the family, so maybe it's better off to just save the people you know and love. Siding with Bastion, though, it feels like Geralt trying to bring a tiny bit of brightness and idealism to this dark corner of the world. Like, this is in line with how I generally play Geralt. But there's one little issue that nags at me, it just irks me, and that this is Dune's decision, and Geralt just makes it for him?
No, the Blacken stays here.
Maybe you ought to show him Nordlings aren't as barbarous as Nilfgaardians make us out to be.
Fine, I'll take him in.
Peer pressure at its finest. The Witcher 3 usually nails these choices and makes it so that Geralt impacts things, but in a natural way. He isn't some super important figure who random characters just dote over or defer to. He just makes choices as they come and has to deal with the consequences. But here, he makes a choice, but Dune is the one who has to deal with those consequences. And he just rolls with it because Geralt had an opinion, and I don't like that. Like, it goes from being captivating to feeling very video gamey. It feels artificial. Like, it makes Geralt seem like one of those chosen ones in those old school RPGs where people just do whatever he says. Missing in Action is still a great little quest. It has the character work, the atmosphere, the world building, but I'm used to these nuanced and thoughtful decisions that build up who your Geralt is naturally. But by having Dune base his choice solely on Geralt's opinion, it ends up feeling more binary, black and white, and cliched. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe to my channel. There's more Witcher 3 content coming. I'm on vacation, but Witcher 3 material does not take a vacation. And I know that was a bad joke, but again, I am on vacation. What's the worst people are going to do to me?
They'll hang him.